Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. Well, some of you have already been doing that. We have some pictures that were sent in to us on our Eyewitness portal. Let's begin with this one from Lagos State, showing passengers pushing a BRT bus at Maryland bus stop on Ikorodu Road. Our Eyewitness reporter is appealing to Lamata to put all their buses in good condition. Next is this one from Oba Market in Benin City, Edo State. Our Eyewitness reporter says these children are not supposed to be on the streets. And from the University Road in Soka comes this picture showing a flooded road after heavy rain. Our Eyewitness reporter says this was due to a blocked drainage. And lastly is this one from Lokoja Ajaokuta Road in Kogi State. Our Eyewitness reporter says 7 persons lost their lives in this motor accident. The accident occurred after a head-on collision between a bus belonging to Peace Mass Transit and a car. Well, thanks so much for sending in all your pictures. Your views are important to us right here on Channels Television. Do keep them coming. Now let's continue with our top story on Amnesty International, where military authorities have responded to Amnesty International's report alleging gross human rights violations and describing it as blackmail. The Defense Headquarters spokesperson, Major General Chris Olukolade, accused Amnesty of embarking on a smear campaign against the military since the inception of the war against insurgency in the northeast. Part of the statement reads, "The Defense Headquarters has noted with dismay the gruesome allegations made by Amnesty against some senior military officers serving and retired." He further describes as unfortunate Amnesty's use of the report to further confirm its questionable interest in the counter-terrorism effort in Nigeria. Well, in spite of that statement, Amnesty International insists the Nigerian military has questions to answer concerning its role in human rights violations, including extrajudicial killings during its war on the insurgency. The rights group detailed various abuses, including inhumane conditions of detainees, as well as the failure of the military's leadership to prevent these abuses. Our correspondent Gimba Omar earlier spoke with the senior director for the research at Amnesty International, Anna Neistat, and he started by asking her to respond to the military authorities' reaction to Amnesty's allegations.
Response from the military is perhaps unsurprising, but definitely disappointing. When they say that the allegations are grave, they're absolutely correct. We are talking about thousands of people who died in detention and executions and all the other abuses that you just cited when talking about the report that we released today. And we are talking about the knowledge of the senior military leadership about those abuses and their failure to prevent them. So indeed, these allegations are very serious. And I would expect the Nigerian military to engage in a much more serious dialogue rather than throwing at us blackmail, or especially of our, I believe it was questionable interest in counterinsurgency. I'm very curious what this questionable interest could be. The only interest that we have is that both sides in this conflict, and particularly today, emphasizing the responsibility of the military to conduct their fight against this insurgency, their counterinsurgency campaign, in line with international law without violating the rights of their own citizens. And this is exactly what this report is about.
Let me ask you, Anne, can you tell us how you reached these conclusions? What are the measures you used in getting to them in your investigations?
Absolutely. This report is the result of years of investigation. We conducted 6 field missions during which our researchers met with families, with victims, with witnesses. They visited detention facilities based on our direct first-hand knowledge. We interviewed more than 400 witnesses and victims, lawyers, human rights activists, doctors. We analyzed more than 90 videos, which involved verification and authentication and corroboration of these videos and photographs. We collected satellite imagery. And last but not least, we got access to more than 800 internal military documents and interviewed military sources. And that's where we found corroboration of the same crimes that were described to us by witnesses. To just give you one example, when, for example, witnesses talked to us about people dying in custody, dying of starvation, dying of lack of water and sanitation, dying of overcrowding, we have, for the same period, reports sent from these barracks to headquarters saying today 8 people died, and then next day, today 9 people died, as they say, and these reports are coming to headquarters day after day after day, and nothing is being done. And that's what gives us additional evidence to suggest that the command, the leadership, knew about what was going on.
But
and failed to do anything.
My apologies though, have you been able to interface with the Nigerian military concerning this report that you got out? And what feedback did you get if you did?
This report just came out, and we just forwarded it to the president. We do hope to have more interactions with the Nigerian military, of course, but in the course of the last years, and the report lists all of these in the appendix to the report, we list all of these interactions. We wrote 57 times and met with the Nigerian authorities, including the military, on numerous occasions, presenting our findings and urging them to open investigations to the public, and none of that has led to any tangible result. Of course, at this point, and I have to emphasize it, we are hoping for engagement. Our main recommendation in this report is to the Nigerian government. We do believe that the Nigerian government, in line with the commitments that the president just made, will take this on and will launch its own investigation, will bring the perpetrators to justice to end this cycle of abuse and impunity that has taken over the country over the last years. We do hope to cooperate in this process with the Nigerian government to share the information that we have, and we're also calling on Nigeria's international counterparts to urge Nigeria and to support it in this process.
That's the Senior Director for Research at Amnesty International, Anna Neistat, speaking with our correspondent there, Gimba Umar, on the alleged role of the military in human rights violations. But news just coming into us, the President has reacted, President Muhammadu Buhari, to this issue, and he said he will review a report by the Amnesty International group alleging widespread torture and extrajudicial killings by the military against Boko Haram. Now, this report indeed was published by Amnesty International, listing senior military commanders as being culpable. Now, the president has said that he will review this report and respond in due course. Well, now let's just take a look at some of the records of the deadly activities of the terrorist group Boko Haram. In this background report, our correspondent Sheung Okimbaloye takes a look at the timeline of the attacks of the sect from 2009.
2009, a year many believed the Boko Haram intends to unleash terror matured after several years of its existence as a group. The killing of its leader Muhammadu Yusuf, many have linked to the eventual violent activities of the group. Boko Haram, which literally means Western education is sacrilege, started its attacks on a rather skeletal level, with attackers detonating improvised explosives from moving motorbikes on viewing centers, markets, and other soft target areas. In 2010, the group had gotten a new leadership and went all out to free some of its members arrested in a jailbreak. That signaled a new level of its violent attacks. The group looks resolute as it took on the police headquarters at the nation's seat of power, killing 6 people. That was in June of 2011. 2 months later,
we need stretchers!
The group, in its perhaps fourth attack on Western target, hit the United Nations building, still at the Federal Capital Territory. 11 of the UN staff were killed, alongside 12 others, leaving more than 100 more people injured. That attack took the attention of the world. Then Boko Haram was no longer seen as a local threat alone, but a group which is believed to have sympathy and support of international terror organizations. 2012 was a tough year. Boko Haram's attack has gone on a larger scale, making the northeast Nigeria its focus and Maiduguri and its immediate surrounding communities its base. The Nigerian government declared a state of emergency in 3 of the states of the region, Yobe, Adamawa and Borno states. The group under the putative leader Abubakar Shekau has gone so wild, the military claiming they have killed him in a bombardment on the sect's camp. But videos believed to have been released by the sect afterwards revealed the said leader busting. It was in 2013 that the U.S. Department of State designated Boko Haram a foreign terrorist organization. The fight against the terrorist group gets a lift as several countries weighed in, declaring their support. The Nigerian forces increased its efforts in quelling the insurgency by the Boko Haram sect, the group which has grown its tentacles in kidnappings and abduction of foreign nationals and have spread its movement into neighboring countries of Chad and Niger. Attacks on schools also have become rife. A troubling scenario was the killing of over 60 students in their sleep in a government-owned secondary school in Buniyadi, Yobe State. The sect again abducted 276 schoolgirls from Chibok, Borno State. Boko Haram insurgents didn't look away from the nation's seat of power as violence returned to Abuja in April of 2014. The bombing of a bus station killed nearly 100 people. The sect moved a notch higher in its campaign of terror, holding onto territories rather than retreating after attacks. The leader Shekau declared a caliphate in areas under the sect's control, declaring the town of Goza its seat of power. In most of its so-called territories, the sect hoisted flags, a sign of its taking. The group is believed to have close to 10,000 fighters, although that number may have been largely depleted due to the recent military incursion on most of the sect's strongholds. Boko Haram is said to have killed well over 10,000 people since the start of its onslaught in 2009. Sheon Wakimbaloye for Channels Television News.
Take a look at the scarcity of petrol in the country. The join us again.